Hello and welcome back to Journey Through the Ages. We are still in 1945, but we have moved on to a vehicle that is the other Japanese-inspired company. So we've had a few Russian, we've had a few American and European. Now we've got Japanese. This is the Bururun Sokudo. I apologize if I butchered the heck out of that. But this is the body style we're looking at here. You can see highlighted in the red squares. And I decided that this one was going to be a Japanese car because it's kind of smaller and it looks like it could be a fun little sporty car, which Bururun is supposed to be a Japanese sporty company. So over in the chassis, we've gone a little bit, it's pretty standard. I mean, this is still 1945, but it'd go aluminum for lightness and then ladder steel front engine. And then I kind of went with what I like to refer to as like the muscle car setup, having that double wishbone front and axle coil in the rear, because I wanted to try and make this car slide a little bit. The engine is an inline 4 made of cast iron, 1.5 liter, and direct acting overhead cam. Cast iron, cast all around, angry dog. You can see here the compression of the cam profile all worked to help get this vehicle up to 85 torque and 89 horsepower, so it's not the fastest. There's still no turbos in existence yet. And then we've just got a single barrel carburetor, twin carb, performance intake, and it's running on super leaded. And we have a 6,000 RPM limit, which does give it a nice little bit of a fall off, so we're not right at the red line. Then we've got a short cast header with a 1.5-inch exhaust diameter, baffled second muffler. I do the baffled second muffler on a lot of my vehicles, not even because of the theming of the vehicles as much as personally I want to save my ears, and I feel like you guys probably don't want to hear screaming either. So onto the vehicle. Here we have, I just made it a decent looking red color, and overall the car ended up looking very angry. I don't know, it was just kind of funny. I decided to stick with it, and it's got a very interesting shape. It's kind of long in the cab and overall very well balanced. You see, it's all lettering written back here, the Bururun Sokudo. Relatively simple car. We get into the drivetrain, and it is rear-wheel drive with a 3-speed manual and an open diff. The wheels are 145 all around. It's still a car that is expected to be driven a little bit, so hard long life tires. And by the steering judgment here, it definitely believes that the car oversteers, which is what I was trying to get. And then it has a wheel spin of 8% according to this. The brakes, you can see, are relatively good, not super crazy. They are incredibly high race pad type, but there's only so much you can do in 1945. The brakes are still just these basic drums. No under tray. Decent brake airflow because I don't want the brakes to die on this car. And it's just got a standard interior, no entertainment, and standard 40s safety. So, with that, let's head over to BeamNG and see how the car actually drives. And here we are in BeamNG. You can see the car looks pretty much the same as it did over in automation, which is always nice. Still has that angry front end and more rally lights than anyone knows what to do with. So let me get my head back and let's take it for a spin. So right away, it is a pretty good handling vehicle. I mean, it doesn't have anything crazy. I missed my turn. Oops. It's a pretty decent handling car though. It drives exactly as you would want, and I've already tested the car out and made sure that it was all tweaked to do what I wanted before even recording, and oh gosh, we're gonna fly off a cliff if I'm not careful. There we go. The car will in fact drift, but I'm not so good at doing so. I'm not careful, I'm gonna break the drive shaft trying to get down a hill. Now, the, oh shoot, automation was, oh no, oops. Automation was yelling at me about the way that I geared the drivetrain, because it was saying that I could get a higher top speed out of the car if I didn't set it to be kind of sharp. But I wanted it to be able to slide around and have a little bit of wheel spin, which means that rather than getting an 110 mile per hour top speed as it could actually achieve, it's going to hit a wall. There we go. But instead, it can actually slide around a little bit, although I'm not doing a very good job at showing that. And I'm not the best drifter. But in first gear, this car can just drift in circles with no problems. Second gear, it gets a little bit unfortunate because second gear is either too, well, it's either not allowing enough power out or it's too much power, which really means that I'm sure for some pro drifter it's perfect, but I am not. And the car accelerates pretty well, and even though it said there was an 83%, or not 83, an 8.3% wheel spin, it doesn't really spin that much. The only time you ever notice it is if you're going too fast into a corner. So really, it's just a good sports car. Oh snap. And that's a pole. Did I hook it to the pole? I did. It's not even... Oops. You can see here, it will slide around if you full gun it in first gear, and it'll handle quite well. So here we are at the racetrack, and if I put it up in a second, get it going a little bit. You can see it does drive very well, and it can go quickly. Ooh. It can also be a bit of a handful to drive. Aw, darn. Like I said, I'm not the best drifter, so that does make it kind of hard to actually make a drifting car. But if even I can drive it pretty decent, that's saying something. Ooh. Oops. Okay, so with that, I'm going to take this car over, well, I'm going to take this car to the time trial for this track and get it a comparison against the first Japanese vehicle I made, the Taraku, which I've already taken around the track. So unfortunately you won't get to see that one run. But I'll put up both of the times at the end for its comparison. And the brakes are phenomenal in this car. And here we are on the track. Now the one issue this car does have is in that first gear launch because it's so short. But it is still a good car. Don't spin it. Ooh, I went a little bit wide. It's alright because it handles it just fine. Whoopsie. A little bit of that first gear drifting. Oh shoot. We'll be back. Fucking hot. Well, mostly because the car can reach a higher top speed than the Taraku, I struggled a bit with that one. The fact is, it has the issue with the gearing, so it can't drift as well as I would hope, but also I suck at drifting. It's probably better at drifting than I think. We can see here I got a 2:04.8, which is almost 20 seconds faster than the Taraku managed to get around it. So it is a fast car, mostly because it can go like 70 miles an hour as opposed to the Taraku, which can't get over 45, I think. I don't remember. It's been a minute. But yeah, it is a good sports car. Of the two Japanese cars I have, it's the sportiest one. Most of it you just kind of want to leave it in second if you're driving. If you're trying to go in circles, it's really good for it can definitely do some donuts in first. You know, donuts, let's get it. Let's do some celebratory donuts. Okay, it didn't really do that very well. There we go. See? You can do some donuts. Best just kind of driven in second. But you do have to be careful because it will spin out on you. But that'll be it for this one. It was my horrible attempt at building a drift car in 1945. With that, I'll see y'all next time.